Welcome to the
Okay.
Points News interviews. And today we're going to discuss current situation in Syria with Stephen Sahiounie. Hello, Stephen. How are you doing?
Hello. I'm doing okay. I'm trying to survive. It's that easy. I'm trying to survive.
Recently, there have been attacks on Alawites and Christians in your country. What triggered this event?
First of all, this did not start from one day. Just they woke up and started killing everyone. This is a planned plan. This is a plan. Uh, Assad regime left with no regret. But there is intelligence working on the ground that don't want Syria to be stable. Like it might be different regional countries that are pumping and supporting and funding. What started this in the coast is a group of militants who are loyal to the former regime, and they are in a few thousands only in the coast, and they don't represent anyone. They don't represent the Alawites. They don't represent the Christians. They represent themselves and whoever's paying them to cause this unrest. They attacked a caravan and a convoy for the new administration, the security forces for the new administration. And then because of that, but the problem was it was the reaction from the new administration. Number one, the new administration used helicopters. They started shelling the village where the attack came from. And that is for many reasons they did that. You can, they're no, they don't have the experience. They used to run a small city like Idlib that has 1 or 2 million. That's number one. Number two is the people loyal to them in Idlib and Aleppo and other areas. And the problem, and that's where the problem is, and the mosque came out. I'm not putting the blame on the mosque. I'm putting the blame on the new administration that they couldn't stop this action. Is they lost a lot of their sons in this ambush that these militants did. Besides doing a military operation, a small military operation, and attacking them and capturing these militants, they just sent everyone, security forces, normal people. They all grabbed their guns in the thousands. Even the mosque, they started coming out in several cities and saying that it was trying to do a sectarian war. Whoever did this, whoever gave the order and the money to these militants to do this attack, it might be the same country. It might be the same country who gave the militants to do this attack and who gave the order to these people to come to the coast and start killing. It might be the same country. But I'm trying to say that there is a country, there is secret services in this region who are trying to make Syria unstable, and there is a goal of splitting it. The Kurds by themselves, the Durzis in the south by themselves, and the coast by itself. The problem is when these massive numbers of radical Islamists came from Idlib, from suburbs of Aleppo, from east of Syria, came in the thousands by themselves with no one like the new administration didn't just ask them, go and start killing them. That did not happen. I have to be fair. I'm a journalist and I live in Latakia. But the problem is when you have thousands coming and they're all armed, there isn't unable to stop them. This, as I told you, this is a new administration. They don't have the expertise in running a country. And at the same time, parts of their security forces are radical, and they had a role in this massacres. Some of their security forces tried to stop these groups of doing the massacres, but the people who came to kill, there were massive numbers in the thousands. They killed men, women, and children. They killed They stole the cars, they stole the houses, they shot them, they tortured them, they humiliated them, they set up the forest on fire. And there are several areas in Latakia. The security forces they were able to to surround the problem and calm it down. Like for example, the city of Latakia, inside of the city of Latakia, they surrounded it in one neighborhood, and that neighborhood is in Datur. It's a neighborhood, very poor Alawite neighborhood that these Assad loyalists did several ambushes against the new security forces. I'm not putting the blame on the Assad loyalist militants, or they used to be in the old Syrian army. It's everyone's fault. And as I said, those militants, they were hiding in these poor neighborhoods, the Alawite port neighborhood, and who paid the price? It's the civilians. It's the civilians. That's all. They were killed in massive numbers. They were unable to stop them. In the city of Jebli also, they were, for 2 days, they were killing, slaughtering, stealing. And these are, a lot of them are known, and a lot of them are unknown. And a lot of them are Uyghurs, Uzbek, Tajikistan, Chechens, fighters. They're not even Syrians. They don't know this neighborhood. Alawite families. They had them in their house. And because of that, these radical Islamists killed the Sunni families. 14 Sunni families were killed for protecting the Alawites. In Syria and in the coast, we've been living together for over 70, 80 years, 90 years, for over 100 years, since the coast was started and religion started in this part of the world. And we're talking about thousands of years. In the coast we were living. We have Christians, we have Muslim Sunnis, we have Muslim Alawites, we have other religions. We've been living together. But since the day he left, the ex-president left, until this day today, there is groups on both sides causing chaos to make it into a sectarian war. This is not the first act by these Assad loyalists. There were several, or that's what they call. They might not be like that. They might, I told you, the same secret service who is supporting these people, who are supporting these people. No one knows. This is all secret service and leaked information.
You're breaking up a little.
But both sides hold responsibility, and it's the men, women, and... Is my connection better?
Yes. Yeah, I think you should come again.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is the civilians pay the price. The Syrian coast paid the price. What the loyalist of the ex-regime did was very wrong, and they should not have done this action, because their own sect paid the price big time. We're talking about over 1,000 killed of men, women, and children in cold blood. 14 and 15. Several of my people who I know and friends, they lost their lives or they lost loved ones. And at the same time, the new administration, the reaction on the ambush that the loyalists did was too harsh. So both sides are wrong. Both sides have mistakes. But there was ethnic killing. There was murder, massacres, and there were massive graves. But as I say again, and I repeat, so no one misunderstands me, it's both sides wrong. The loyalists, what they did by doing these operations against the new administration, and they have no support. The Alawites, after the old president left, they just want to live in peace and sound. And that's why they went to the Russian military base in the thousands in the city of Jebli, a few kilometers away from the city of Latakia, to the military base in Hmeimim for asking for protection. They were afraid of their life, and they just want to live in peace. That's all. And at the same time, I say again, the new administration of lack of expertise. Maybe they had a goal. No one knows what's inside of them. Their reaction was too harsh, and it got the world looking at them and putting an X next to their name after they had a chance of cleaning up their name and cleaning up their history that is related to HTS and related to radical Islamist groups.
Well, I think it's a big question because these days, Middle East actually is falling apart. Muslim countries are fighting each other, and this is really horrible. And obviously, massive protests in Turkey are ongoing, and Syria actually sending troops as if they're having extra troops to help out Turkey. What do you know about that?
I've heard reports about that, and now today, Syria and Turkey are allies, and I won't be surprised that these reports are true. I do say that as a political commentator, and my personal opinion, that the Turkish government did a mistake by arresting the opposition leader and the head of City Hall of Istanbul. Sorry, I've been watching Beirut all morning. So the City Hall of Istanbul, the opposition leader, and he did a big mistake, and he shouldn't have arrested him, because that caused hundreds of thousands in the streets. And also the world is watching. The world's watching Turkey. The eyes are on Turkey. Their economy is not that strong, and they never left any friends for them. Like, they have stabbed Russia in the back several times. They have stabbed the United States several times in the back politically. So they never left. Like, President Trump today is a businessman. And in business, there have to be trust. And the Turkish government, there's no more trust. No one trusts them anymore. And that's because of their actions. Like, 1 minute, they're allies with the United States. Then they flipped, oh no, we're allies with Russia. Then when they have a benefit, they flip with the States again. So, and today we're seeing that Washington and Moscow, they're negotiating. The relationship might be building back again. And that all reflects on Turkey, on Syria, on Iraq, and to the whole world, and even Europe. We're talking about the two superpowers of the world. And that's, thank God, they're making a deal with each other, and because no one wants a World War III between the United States and Russia. No one. Not the States want that, and not Russia wants that for sure. So he never left himself a friend, and he wasn't loyal to either side. And that is why I think that he should fix his mistake, get the opposition leader out, the head of Istanbul, and he should fix this politically. Because, as I said, Turkey has no more friends around it. Not with Iran, not with Russia, not with the United States.
And speaking about crimes, because there's numerous videos of executions of civilians have been shared online. Will those responsible for these war crimes will be held accountable? Or will the new government overlook these actions?
The new administration, the problem is they have a history of being Islamist, and a lot of the new administration, they had a part. They might have the leadership, did not give the direct order, and did not give the green light. I'm trying to be honest. I'm trying to be in the middle, because I'm not with this side or this side. I'm with the civilians that lost their souls, with my friends and neighbors and people that I lived with in my city and my area for my whole life. That's why I feel sorry for those poor people. The administration, the head administration in Damascus, may have not given the green light. But the people who are supposed to be with them and loyal to them, they're the one who did this massacres. and massive graves. The reports came out that they did arrest several, but and they did do an investigation committee. But the problem is, and that was the American administration said yesterday, that this government is one color. So it's not combined. There's no different parties in the new administration. So how is a one color administration is going to make a committee, investigation committee, who are also the same as them, and punish the people who are working for them and loyal to them? So it's the same person, and that is the problem. So that's why the people here they never lost hope, but they're asking for help, and they're asking for a little bit of change. Even the Kurds, after they saw the constitution for the transition period, they were not satisfied. No one is satisfied in Syria because of that constitutional transitional period of time, and that's 5 years. So for the new Syrian administration, punishing them, I have seen reports that they did arrest several, but as I told you, the big problem is, and that is the foreigners and the Uyghurs, the Uzbek, Tajikistan, Chechens who are in Syria. As long as they're in Syria, I don't see stability, because those people are not our ideology, not our culture. The Muslims, even the Sunni Muslims in Syria, 60%, I'm not going to say more, I don't want to exaggerate, the mentality of them, it is a secular Sunni. It's not radical. They pray, they fast, they do all of the religious, but they're not fanatics. They have a neighbor who's a Christian. They have a neighbor who's an Alawite. They have a friend at school or at college who is a different sect and a different religion. We've been living like that for tens of years together with no sectarian problems, if not hundreds of years. So I don't give any credit for the old regime. But the problem is, as I told you, this weird mentality, weird ideology should be taken out of the country. The new administration, they should start, if they want to start till now, the building of a nation. Today, Syria is a nation, zero, destroyed economically, physically, on health, education, everything is destroyed completely. Like you are rebuilding a new country. You want to rebuild the country, you want to rebuild the nation, these foreign mercenaries should be taken out with the help and support of the international community. The United States, Europe, Russia, Qatar, the Turkey even can have a big role. You can have Muslim Brotherhood, you can have secular, like having a civil government where everyone has shares in the government and has a role in making a decision. And that's the only way to rebuild Syria. You cannot rebuild Syria with one side ruling the country, or then we'll be making the mistake of the X regime. When you don't have an opposition, you don't have an opposition, they're not going to tell you where your mistake. You're not going to try to work on fixing your mistakes. You're not going to be afraid of losing your parliament and losing your chair and your government. That's the problem. Syria is tired of 55 years of a corrupted dictator. We do not want to go for another 50 years. We want, okay, this guy's here for now for 5 years. If he did good, people will elect him again for a second term. Then the third term, someone else will come in and he will an election like all of the other countries. That is the only way to rebuild a nation, rebuild a country, and especially like Syria, that's completely destroyed and needs the help of everyone. And that's the most important. If we don't have the help of all, serious help, not only Russia's help, like today Russia is sending oil to Syria and sending fuel to Syria. No, the Europeans didn't send anything. The Americans never sent anything. The Americans never lifted the sanctions. The Russians sending 2 to 3 already oil tankers to Syria and help Syria. Qatar also sent gas to Syria to turn on the electricity today. The electricity is much better. Thank you for Qatar, of course. They're helping Syria. Thank you for Russia also. They're helping Syria. What did the Europeans did? Okay, they lifted the sanctions. But all of that sanctions, without America lifting the sanctions, it's meaningless because Europe is an employee for the United States. When President Trump lift the sanctions off of Syria, and at the same time, he cannot lift the sanctions off without seeing change inside of the country by this new administration, and especially that they have a history of being an Islamist. So it's all very complicated. It's all
pros and
all of the problems in the region and the international problems is all connected with in Iraq, all in Yemen and Syria. It's all connected. Also, with the problem in Ukraine between the United States and Russia and Europe. Also, it's connected. It's all connected with each other. You cannot separate one part of than another.
In your opinion, the U.S. Is probably just like a theory. Is the USA provoking the war in Syria?
Yes, they have been for several years. They've supported this chaos in Syria since the year 2011. They have supported the Kurds, the separation, and supporting them and stealing the oil and gas from Syria. And I'm talking about Obama's administration and Biden's administration. They had big role in the suffering of the Syrian people. The sanctions on Syria also, it had a role. Them funding different groups also had a big role. And sometimes they had supported and like if the United States wanted Assad out from day one, they could have taken him out. Nothing's going to stop them since 2011. But they wanted this civil war to continue 15 years to weaken Syria and to separate Syria and to Syria to lose their power, their economical power that they used to have in 2010 and before. They wanted Syria to lose their doctors and engineers. Today, where are all the doctors in Syria? In Europe, the engineers in Europe and in the Gulf. Syria today, there's a problem in Syria for anesthesia doctors in the country. There's about 10 in my whole city. 10 anesthesia doctors because everyone's leaving. No one wants to stay. There's no stability. The same thing, the owners of factories and businessmen, they're leaving. Why? There's no safety. And who supported that is both Obama and Biden administration. We hope that Trump administration with other regional power countries, like also for sure Russia, because this problem cannot be solved if not Moscow and Washington sat on the table and fixed this problem and told all of the parties in Syria and all of the sides in Syria sit on the table, and they forced them to sit on the table because they are as I said, they have no expertise in running a country. They don't have the expertise in running a nation and rebuilding a nation. That's why we are saying they need the political help. That's what I'm trying to say. The political help and the advice from them. I'm not saying for their troops to come in. No, they need help to tell them. You make a meeting with the opposition, with everyone. You make a new government. You make a new constitution. You make an election. This is how you rebuild a country. They get advisors from other countries. They take several like from history, like how Germany rebuilt itself after World War II, like how Japan rebuilt itself after World War II, like several countries through history that also completely got destroyed and they rebuilt themselves. The UAE also, the UAE did not get destroyed, but they started from sand and look how they are today. Also, you can have their expertise from the UAE, from Qatar, also the Russian the power of economy, the power of politics. If you're not strong in politics, you're not going to be strong in economy. So you need the advice from all of these countries, and don't take one side. Don't be on the American side or on the Russian. No, you need to be on all sides, like how Switzerland is, for example, or like a neutral country. You need to be friends with everyone. friends with Washington, friends with Moscow, friends with Beijing, with Tehran, with Ankara, with Saudi, with Qatar, everyone, and take their advice and rebuild your country and just stay out of problems. Today, I'm talking as a Syrian person, as after 15 years of war, Syrians are tired. They don't care who controls them. They don't care if it's separated, not separated. Seriously, I'm telling you, what's the talk is on the streets. What the people are saying on the street, they don't care. They just want electricity, jobs, good salary, and food and safety. That's all they don't care who controls them or how is it controlled or anything. They just want to raise their children and send them to school and safety. That's all they want.
Sure. That's the basic needs for a human, and everyone wants peace. And currently, is there attacks still happening?
The attacks stopped about 95%, up to 99%. The highways have opened. The buses and the transportation companies are working, like between Latakia and Tartus and Damascus, or through the north of Syria, Idlib and Aleppo. That's in the north. The buses are going through. We are hearing that there is some unknown groups, and seriously, it's unknown. It might be the foreigners, mercenaries. It might be the loyalists. Someone's lighting up the forest on fire to cause chaos. And
You're breaking up.
choose the other side. So who is these groups? Seriously, no. Is it better? Okay,
Yes.
it's better. Yes. So there's so many secret services working on the ground in Syria. Is the Israelis from one side, the Turkish from one side, the Americans from one side, the Europeans from one side, the Iranians from one side. So and each group and each country has a group working for them. So you don't know who is lighting up the fires and who's doing the massacres and who's doing all of this. But they're trying, as I told you, to lit it up sectarian war.
And in your opinion, what measures should be taken to prevent such tragedies? Sorry, I'll come again. So yeah, in your opinion, what measures should be taken to prevent such tragedies in the future?
First of all, the weapons should be taken out from everyone, from everyone's hands, not only from one side and not only from one sect. The weapons should be taken out from every civilian that have a weapon. And that's the problem. And that is why the Syrians, even the loyalists for President Assad, they criticize him the way he left. When he left, all of the security branches, all of the police stations, and all of the military bases were empty. So the civilians came in and take weapons. So almost in every house, there's weapons. So you want to take weapons? You take weapons from Latakia and from Idlib, from Aleppo and from Tartus, from all the sects, from the Sunnis, Christians, and Alawites. And the weapons should be in the hands of the Syrian government, whoever it is. I haven't been a cheerleader or a fan of anyone. I'm a fan and for my own country and for the safety. So the only way to prevent this is to take all of the weapons and shut the borders and shut the smuggling of weapons and the selling the weapons from all over the country and put it in the hands of the government only. The civilians should not have a weapon. And at the same time, at this point, unfortunately, you need some international support. I'm against it as a person, but you need international support, and the government needs help. As I told you, they are new on running a country this big. They don't have the expertise, and they don't have the enough equipment, and they are still trying. There is a lot of. I have to give some credit. I cannot be too harsh, or then I won't be a journalist. You have to give some credit for the new administration, for the security branch, the security forces who are working. Some of them are very good. Some of them are working. They're trying their best. But as I told you, the foreigners are causing big problems, and they're trying to get them out. And a lot of times they're having clashes between the security forces and these foreigners. That's the problem. That's the main head problem. And for example, also that's one of the reasons you need international support to get these foreigners out, get the weapons in the hands of the government, get trained, and bring back the police. The traffic police needs to come back. They have no blood on their hands, and they were not with the regime. The traffic police, they didn't kill anyone. The police for the Interior Ministry that arrested criminals and all of that. You need to bring him that back. You need their expertise. You need their experience. Also, all of that they need to come back, and they will train the new administration. Those people did not kill anyone. Those people they did not have a part in the massacre and in the civil war in the last 15 years. So you need a traffic police. You need the police for the Interior Ministry that fight criminals. You need to reopen the prisons and fix up the prisons, because tens of thousands of criminals came out when they opened the prisons for everyone. Rapists, criminals, killers, all of it. You need to arrest them again. You need to pull out the weapons from everyone. And that is with, as I said, international support and advising and equipment, of course, and training. And that's the way to prevent this. And at the same time, on the media, in the Syrian media, they should have it. The schools, colleges, and at the mosque and churches, they have to have a speech of loving between one another. And that is also that it has been like today, the Christians, today we're in Ramadan, they respect this, they respect the Muslims, and they don't eat in front of them. The same thing, the Muslims, big parts of them, they respect the Christians and their traditions. But there is some groups, they're awkward, but they're not the majority. But as I said, you have to have the media with the security branches, with the education, working all together on rebuilding the country.
Yes, and I think it's gonna take a long time to do that. But
At least 50 years. At least 50 years. 2 to 3 generations at least. If they work correctly. They work correctly.
We're advocating for peace, first of all, our platform, and may peace come to your country. We hope this will come to an end as soon as possible.
Everyone wants peace. Everyone wants peace, but will the world allow us? That's a question.
Thank you. Thank you for carving out some time for this interview. I know it's difficult, but so thank you.
Thank you.